interdependence, equity, transformation, pluralism, generosity, justice, with love at the center. I have just a few announcements this morning. One, we have a tentative date for the arrival of the pumpkins. It might be on October the 11th. That's still quite a ways off, but I just want to put the bug in your ear. The second one is, although this is still a little tentative, we're planning to do a rummage sale either during the pumpkin patch, maybe the following weekend, which would be October the 18th, or possibly after the pumpkin patch sale ends, and that would be after Halloween, so that would put us in early November. But either way, we're planning on doing a rummage sale towards the last half of October, possibly early November. We're still working on that. So if you've got stuff you want to get rid of, if you were here last Sunday, you know that's what I was talking about. This is a great opportunity to lighten load. Also, the meditation will be resuming this Wednesday. We usually meet on the first and third Wednesdays of the month, usually from 6 to 7 o'clock. We took a couple months off for summer, but we're kind of back in the saddle now. Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if I mentioned this last week or not, but we are going to be working with an interfaith group for an interfaith vigil that will begin this coming Tuesday, September 9th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. The organizer is Mariah Boone, who is a Quaker, and we have been invited to participate in that vigil. It is particularly, we are focusing on concentration camps, due process for immigrants, love thy neighbor. So we're only going to focus on that message at this vigil, but we are hoping to have a really good turnout. So you can see me or Lisa, do you want to, oh, Lisa's out there. You can see me or Lisa after, and I think Kelly is also going to be involved in this, so thanks.
Also, and I believe next weekend is going to be Tacos Not Bombs, am I correct?
Yes, that is.
Okay.
So Saturday we'll make the sandwiches and Sunday delivery. So if you want to do either one or just donate supplies.
Mm-hmm. It is our custom in this church to offer visitors and newcomers a chance to introduce themselves if they feel comfortable doing so. If this is your first time here or just feel ready to say hello after coming for a while, we'd like to invite you to stand as you are able or raise your hand. All you have to do is tell us your name and where you're from, and we'll bring a microphone to you if you'd like. If any brave? No? Okay. We welcome everyone here, both here in the sanctuary and online. We'd like to, are we going to be having coffee today? No coffee. Okay, man. Okay, just again, abundance of caution. Okay, our service will now begin. Okay.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a land of many colors, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are travel back to your communities, to just take a moment right now to take the sound of this room into your heart, the look of your comrades, something that you learned, some emotion that you had. And when it gets discouraging and seems absolutely impossible, bring back this moment right here where you know that there were thousands and thousands of people who have worked with you over a lifetime to try to find what it means to be a peaceful person, what it means to be a person who works for justice, what it means to be someone who holds the weight of the horror and at the same time holds the weight of the spectacular beauty of what goes on this planet. And it is our job as conscientious people to be able to hold both parts and move forward with grace and dignity and courage, and you are a great example of that. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. Thank you all so much.
Wow, that's great.
I love that song. I would like to invite Braden up to light the chalice, and Lauren will help you. These are words by Tara Humphreys. Whether you were born into this faith, found it, or it found you, whether you believe in God, are open to mystery, or still have no idea, whether you are holding anxiety, grief, confusion, anger, hope, restlessness, or deep peace, this chalice is lit for you. Please rise in body or spirit for the affirmation of our church covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus we do covenant with each other, and all we hold sacred. You may now be seated. Are we going to cut straight to the story? Okay. Oh. Okay, I'd like... Oh, there is music. I'm sorry.
When our heart is in a holy place, when our heart is in a holy place, we are blessed with love and amazing grace. When our heart is in a holy place, when we trust the wisdom in each other. When our colors fade, and our heart is in a holy place. Then our heart is in a holy place. Then our heart is in a holy place.
Technology is great when you're in a jam like we are today, but Rob, I missed the band. I would now like to invite Ren up for the reading of The Story of All Ages.
Good morning. My name is Ren Aldrich. I'm standing in for Tess Cherry, our religious exploration coordinator. And our video today, our story is a video. The video is a story. It's a story of a video.
Taco Falls Apart by Brenda S. Miles. Illustrated by Monica Filipina. Meet Taco. Everyone expects so much from him. He must stand tall. He must be open. He must stay strong. But one day Taco hits his breaking point. The world wants too much from me. He cries. Taco cracks, tips over, and falls apart. Oh, no! What's wrong? What's happening? I'll think I'm terrible at being a taco. I feel terrible. And everything I do is terrible. I can't even stand up or keep it together. I'm done. This is awful, says the avocado. The beans gasp. The onions form a ring and start crying. Enough. Taco, you can change all this, says Nacho, once you know about thing feel do. You said it yourself, says Nacho. You think you are terrible, so you feel terrible, and now you won't do anything. And that's terrible. That's loopy, says the lettuce. I feel dizzy, says Taco. Shake things up, Taco, says the salt. If you change what you think, then what you feel and what you do will change, too. But how? Asks Taco. Think about what makes you terrific, says Nacho, and you'll feel better. We think about being crisp instead of wilty, says the lettuce. I'm sour, says the sour cream, but I add terrific flavor. We make farts, say the beans, but we are good for the heart. Your turn, Taco, says the cheese. Turn terrible to terrific. I'll never figure out this thinking stuff. Wrong. Never is not helpful for any kind of thinking. And it's not even true. You've figured out hard stuff before. Think about what you can do and try again. Taco sighs. Why bother? I'm just going to fall apart again tomorrow. Wrong. Are you a fortune teller or a taco? Do you really know what's going to happen? Do you have a crystal ball? Can you see our future? Helpful thoughts only, please. Taco thinks for a long time. Well, I think there are days when I stand tall and hold us all together, says Taco. And thinking about what I can do makes me feel kind of terrific. So now I want to do this. Taco stands up. Hooray! Come on, everybody. Let's pull it together. Group hug. Now Taco thinks lots about his thoughts. Some days he falls apart. Some days his shell cracks. But when Taco thinks about what he can do, he feels strong and stands tall, and life all around seems super terrific.
After our meditation reading and time of silence, and when the music begins, all who would like are invited to come to the chalice table and light a candle representing a joy or concern you may be holding in your heart today. Please come up one at a time using the middle aisle, and keep in mind the further lit candles should be placed in the far end of the stand to decrease the risk of the person's hand behind you. If you are with us online today, we welcome you to share your joys and sorrows in the chat feature. And here's the meditation. These are some paraphrased words by Teresa Soto. I am not prepared to hear you say one thing and watch you do another without even mentioning it. I'm not talking about mistakes. Those things, common and human, keep calling us forward to different, better choices. I'm thinking of a different thing, in which you know the right thing to do and spend entire notebooks of calculations on figuring out how not to do it, or conversely, you give it no thought at all. You must account for this day. Choose justice. You must account for your gifts. Generate love. Your effort in community is a precious resource. Take courage. Move with urgency toward every possibility. Please hurry. We're going to observe 2 minutes of silence. Reverend Janet Onnie, and please correct us if I'm mispronouncing your last name. The Reverend Janet Onnie has supplied pulpits, trained organizations in lay pastoral care, and facilitated workshops on organizational and leadership development and conflict management. As an outspoken supporter of professional clergy, Reverend Onnie has served as a mentor and intern supervisor to ministries in formation and a good officer to troubled ministries. She served first as treasurer, then as president of the Florida chapter of the UU Ministers Association. As a founder of and contributor to interfaith organizations, she's a passionate advocate for social justice issues in cooperation with interfaith partners and allies, and is a frequent contributor to newspapers and public forums. In 2021, she was named Minister Emerita of the Tri-County Unitarian Universalist, that's in Florida. Reverend Onnie retired to Asheville, North Carolina in 2025, where she continues to supply local pulpits and via Zoom pulpits in North America. She has recently completed service as a consulting minister in Harrisburg, Virginia, and sabbatical minister for congregations in Canada and California. She also revived her pre-ministerial career as a professional musician, serving as the volunteer coordinator and board member of the Staunton Music Festival and performing with the Charlottesville Band and Rockbridge Symphony Orchestra. Please welcome Reverend Janet Onnie.
In the Word for All Ages this morning, you heard the story of a taco falling apart and, with the help of friends, one in particular, pulling itself back together. The story of David and Goliath, found in the 17th chapter of the first book of Samuel in the Hebrew Bible, is a familiar story to anyone who attended Sunday school or corporate motivational workshops or psychological roundtables on bullying. This morning, I'm going to start by explaining how King David is like the taco, and David, the nacho. Yes, I know it's a stretch. Here goes. Think of the taco as King Saul. Kings have a lot of stuff to hold, so it's no wonder that they crack from time to time. The King Taco fell apart with some regularity and was soothed and encouraged by the nacho, David. How? David played the harp and wrote and sang some songs. It was through the power of David's music that he came to be known to King Saul as someone to be trusted. So, when David Nacho approached the King Taco for permission to slay a giant, he had a lot of credibility. Permission was given, the stuff that had fallen out when Taco cracked returned to their place, and Taco and Nacho declared victory. I could and probably should sign off right now, but I can't ignore the fact that today, about 8 months into the new US administration, might be a good day to talk about what we can learn about falling apart, encouragement, and bravery. The first book of Samuel was written about 975 BC during the early Iron Age. It's the ancient prequel to the latest conflagration between what is now Gaza and Israel. When the book of Samuel was written, the Philistines and the Israelites both wanted to put the Levant under their political hegemony. That was quite a large geographic area, which included the modern countries of Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Israel, Jordan, and Cyprus. The Philistines got the upper hand at first, but by the 10th century, the Israelites became the primary force in the region. It doesn't take much imagination to substitute the Philistines and Israelites for the Republicans and Democrats, both struggling for dominance in the United States. And like the Philistines and Israelites, the battle lines are drawn with a deep valley in between the factions. The Philistine champion is the person of Goliath. he was big. 4 verses in the story were spent describing just how big. He also had a big mouth. 4 more verses were dedicated to his boasting and insults. He was a bully. As he taunted the opposition, his Philistine followers supported his threats. They lined up behind him with his big, loud taunts and threats and seemed to gain strength from their association with him. His shield bearer was right there with him, holding a protective device so Goliath couldn't be harmed. Goliath shouted at the Israelites for a long time. The story says he kept it up for 40 days, but it could have been as long as 4 years or 8 months. Goliath repeatedly challenged the Israelites to a deal. Their refusal didn't stop him from continuing to try to make a deal, a big deal, an amazing deal. Certainly the biggest, most incredible, most amazing deal anyone had ever seen. Goliath and the Philistines seemed invincible. No wonder the Israelites were dismayed and terrified. The deal challenged them to send one of their own to kill the large, heavily fortified Goliath. If they failed, they would serve the Philistines. All that noise, all those armaments, all those verbal tweets, all those executive orders certainly looked like an uneven fight. Here's lesson number 1. One of the reasons the Hebrew scriptures have survived for so long is that they tell timeless truths. In this case, they tell of a fight over resources, with a bully leading the way. Back then, as is now, the more resources one controls, the more power one has. And we know that those in power are loath to give up that power. We know the truth of MLK Jr.'s observation that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. The Israelites knew that to avoid being held in servitude to the Philistines, they would need to step up and wrest the power away from their enemy. But how? As with many stories in the Hebrew scriptures, this one continues with lineage, a sort of an ancestry.com. David's lineage is important, but it's not necessary to this story, so I'm going to skip over it, except to point out that David is the youngest of 8 brothers. He was not expected to join his brothers in the fight. His job was to tend his father's flock of sheep and deliver food to his brothers in the Israeli army. But on food delivery day, David was in a position to see the armies draw their battle lines and hear the threats of Goliath. He also heard the Israelites talking about the rewards that King Saul offered to the person who would kill Goliath: great wealth, marriage to the king's daughter, and freedom from taxation for the hero's family. However, the tangible rewards were not uppermost in David's mind. He was most interested in ridding Israel of that which was defying the armies of Israel. He wanted to take back the power from that uncircumcised Philistine. Israel had been humiliated by the other, the people who did not share their beliefs and rituals. David, as an Israelite, wanted revenge. Again, I'm going to pause the story to note that much of human history has been the story of winners and losers. What we've seen and experienced, now here's lesson number 2, is that the humiliation of losing cuts deep. The humiliation of losing cuts deep. Back in 2020, Tom Friedman wrote an article explaining that our political divide in the US was seeded by a social and cultural shift that favored the college-educated, coastal, sophisticated urban elites to the detriment of those who didn't fit that mold. Money couldn't buy acceptance to that group. The seed of exclusion was fed and nurtured by those who sought power by recognizing the feeling of being seen as less than, having been humiliated themselves. Once they gained power, they wanted revenge. This is being played out in real time. As Friedman and more recently David Brooks have pointed out, the current political landscape has been a long time in the making. The Philistines now have the upper hand. But the good news is that giants are not always as strong and powerful as they seem. Cue David, the shepherd boy, who had a sling in his pocket. As the story goes, King Saul heard of David's offer to slay Goliath. At first, the king was incredulous. David was a child, and Goliath was a trained fighter. David made his case, citing his battles with wild animals, crediting his apparent victories over them to protection from his deity. He said, "The Lord who delivered me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will deliver me from the hand of this Philistine." King Saul finally caved in and gave his permission for David to try. Here's a third lesson. Just because the vast majority of people believe something doesn't make it true. For David to even make it to the battlefield with Goliath, he had to counter the collective wisdom of the entire army of Israel. These were older, more experienced, battle-hardened men. If you would have taken a poll, 100% of them would have said that walking into that battlefield with Goliath was a suicide mission. That's why you can't always trust polls, and that's why you can't always trust popular opinion. There will always be this pressure to go along with the majority, because if you're told the majority of people believe something, it must be right. At least that's what they want you to believe. Saul gave David more than permission. He tried to outfit him as a soldier with an armor, a helmet, and a sword. I want you to try to envision this. Here's half-naked David, perhaps the stature of a wiry 12-year-old. And he has layer upon layer of cloth and metal placed on his body. I wonder what Saul thought when he saw his champion lurching around under the weight of his protection. The sight probably didn't engender a feeling of confidence. I've been in that overburdened situation, and maybe you have too. Quite often, what we think will protect us does just the opposite. It weighs us down. We think our IRAs, or our skin color, or our gender, or our social class, or our communities of like-minded people, or our intellect will protect us. And we get weighted down. We get weighted down with accumulating these protections, and we get weighted down with the assumptions that we are we look at our alliance from a different perspective. What if everyone else saw as an asset Goliath's massive height and his weight of armor? David saw as a liability. David knew that all that weight wasn't going to help him. He cast off all the king's protection and approached Goliath with what he knew: stones and a slingshot. And you know the story. David prevailed. The takeaway from the story of David and Goliath that I'd like us to consider this morning is this: we can't fight the Philistines with their methods of bullying and intimidation and humiliation. We need to use what we know. We need to use what we know. What do we know? Well, the first thing we know is that our cause is just. Our values state the use of the democratic process within our society at large. The democratic process is currently being undermined by those who seek to influence their hold on power through lies, boasts, and threats. The rule of law is being ignored and/or twisted. It is incumbent on us, and indeed on all people who support the democratic processes, to promote the democratic process. This means, at the very least, we inform ourselves of the policy positions and character of those running for public office. We support those who share our values with our time, our talent, and our treasure, and then we vote. Still, another thing we know is that there are an awful lot of giants these days. There's the huge giant of the climate catastrophe. There's the giant of systemic racism. There's the giant of economic inequality. There's the giant of incivility. There's the giant of the corrupt use of power. Now, some of these giants are new, and some of the older ones have just been awakened from their caves. But they're all lumbering toward us, howling for a confrontation. What we know is this. We know that the methods of the Philistines don't work well for us. When we attempt to use the methods of the Philistines, we become shrill and arrogant and, well, ineffective. Because we're not very good at those methods. When we try to use those methods, we come across as inauthentic. Instead, our methods are grounded in our values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, generosity. Our values are centered by love. What we know, and we know in our Unitarian Universalist bones, is that when love underpins any method of human interaction, we are all better off. Love is the deciding stone in our slingshot. When we fling love in our conversations and our letters, we are more likely to be heard. When we include love in our financial contributions, our resources will help spread our values. When we take to the streets propelled by love, we are met by others sharing our values. The giants of our time can only and ultimately be slain by love. It's time to pick up our slingshots, load in the stones of love, and slay some giants. May our aim be true now and forever. Amen.
We participate in the care of our church community by giving and receiving the offering. If you're contributing to your pledge today, be sure to write pledge on your check or cash envelope. When the music begins, the usher will present the offering basket to you, and all you have to do is drop in your offering. No passing is required. In addition to the basket, and for those of you joining us at home, we have several options for making a Sunday offering. Please use the links on screen to give through our website, by PayPal, or by using the Vanco mobile app. Your offering, no matter how you make it, will be gratefully received. We will now proceed with the collection of the offering.
The ceiling is high to let your soul rise up to the angels who teach you to fly.
closing words today are these. Blessings to you as you find the courage to confront the giants with stones of love, propelled by the sling of resolution to love the hell out of the world. As we extinguish our chalice, let us carry the memory of its warmth and light into all our conversations and actions going through the days ahead. Let us remember to care for ourselves and each other, and remember that the giants also need the light and warmth of our free faith.